Hello, my friends. Hope everybody's doing well. It's Mr. Whittle. I'm coming to you from the campus at school, and I miss you all, and I hope you're all doing well. A couple announcements for my families out there. We're working hard at getting all the Chromebooks out to everybody. I'll get out to you next week with a little updates on some of our plans for classroom learning in a digital environment, and also just let you know if anybody. We are working on getting Chromebooks out to everybody, but it's going to take a little bit of time. If you absolutely are in need, please call the school to let us know now. Or if you can wait a couple days, we're getting them out in batches of about 400 at a time, and we're starting with those high school classes first that need them for college credit, which makes sense, and so they will get to us eventually. So it's coming, and I appreciate your patience and your support. So for all my kids out there, if we're ready for Read Aloud, today I picked the Butter Battle book. This is for my upper elementary kids. You might like this one because it's got some deep thoughts into it, things to really think about and some messages. It's one of Dr. Seuss's books that he wrote that really talked about a current topic that was very important at the time for him. So here's the battle. I think our younger guys are going to like this too because it is still Dr. Seuss. So this is the Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss, of course. One day on the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent, then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Yooks. On the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It is high time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down. But we Yooks, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up. That's the right honest way." Grandpa gritted his teeth. "So you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why, as a youth, I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching border patrol. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I could give him a twitch with my tufted, prickly snickberry switch. For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then, one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Vanitch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Zookaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in his back room to figure how to build some sort of triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched up to that wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Vanitch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from the Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Vanitch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit, with a big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em. We'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from you Yooks who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Zookaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. Oh, that was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of a gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whizzinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think up one quick, and we'll send you right back. Oh, they thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called a Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder and ant eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high, while everyone cheered and their cheers filled the sky. Fight, fight! For the butter side up, do or die. Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Vanich was there too, and he said, the old pig, the boys in my back room invented this rig called the 8-nuzzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high explosive sour cherry stone pits, and we'll put your dumb Kickapoo kid on the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more by Vanich I was bested and beat. Once more I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought they ever could go, when I heard a boom-ba and a diddle-dee-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Yuckaroo had sent them to meet me, along with the right-side-up girls, song girls, to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boy," smiled the chief Yuckaroo, "we've just voted. We've made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you are certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over the wall and clobber those butter-down zooks one and all." Those boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the utterly sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and steered toward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new. No one knew quite exactly just what it would do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew, and gum up the upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle the zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Vanich had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine. And I'm here to say, if you yooks can goo zooks, you better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo yooks." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw, just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all the girls of the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Yuckaroo has been looking for you." I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright back room boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It's filled with mysterious moo-laka-moo and can blow all those zooks clear to salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo. You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all yooks to stay safe underground while the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo is around." As I raced for that wall with a bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last Yuk in our land was obeying our chief Yukaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. That's when grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "You should be down that hole and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You will see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leapt up that wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a bopulous beep. He screamed, "Hear the end of that terrible town, full of Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant, we heard a clup clup of feet on the wall, and old Vanitch clucked up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wheat beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." Grandpa, I shouted, "Be careful, oh gee! Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We will see." Guess what? That's how Dr. Seuss chose to end that book, with a question. So what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think one of them is going to drop the big bomb boomeroo? All right, I hope to see you soon. I'll be putting out these a couple times a week so we can give you some updates and give you some good stories. I hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.